What's up, guys? Welcome to Newswave. Now, I hope you had a great weekend. Hopefully you got a chance to play some games and relax. Obviously, the work week is pretty stressful and annoying for a lot of people, but hopefully you had a good weekend. If you missed anything we did on the channel over the weekend, go ahead and check it out. We had a full podcast with the Spawncast featuring Player Essence, and of course, Philip was there. Check out our entire discussion on the Switch mini topic, and even if you want to play some games with us, check out Mr. Shifty. We did a full play of that as well, just for some fun and some laughs, and it was a good time. And with that, guys, let's get started. And over the weekend, we've had a lot of people who were able to get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch early from Nintendo to review and check out, and a lot of things have started to come out, whether it's control configurations in various modes, whether it's undocked or docked. You can use like a set of Joy-Cons, but not together, or unless you use more Pro controllers. There's a lot of weird things with the control configurations, but one of the weirdest things that is actually really cool that it can do this, but it's a little odd because I'm not sure how it would work well, is that you can do 4-player split screen when it's not docked. That's right, that little screen, but the 6.2 inch screen, small comparative obviously to your normal TV that's split into 4 screens, can, yes, be split into 4 screens, and you can then use it on Mario Kart 8 with several people, I assume, huddled around this little device, and it's pretty funny. I'm not sure how playable it would be. This comes from Andre over at Game Explain. He kind of showed it on Twitter, and he says it's playable. I'm sure if you get close enough to it, it is playable. Not within reason, I think, though, around a table. Of course, in a pinch, sure, you know, if you're going to class or something, you get there early and a bunch of your friends are around, you guys just kind of play, that's great. The fact, though, that the Switch is strong enough in portable mode, because keep in mind, that GPU does downclock quite a bit for that 720p resolution, is still able to do this, is pretty impressive on its own. I think that's really cool that they're able to do that, and it just goes to show you how strong the system really is as a portable unit. I mean, 4 people playing with split screen on one device that's portable, that's Mario Kart, that's ridiculous, right? Cool to see, though. I don't know how much I would use it. I'll probably mostly stick to the TV if we do split screen, especially up to 4, but in a pinch, why not? And if you're still trying to get a Switch, heads up right now, because apparently Best Buy, this is according to Cheap Ass Gamer, apparently Best Buy is saving their Switches for this Friday coming up. And in fact, if you were looking for an NES Classic, you may have already missed it because they were holding it for today, Monday, and more than likely it was just to, I guess, funnel traffic in on the slowest day, Monday, and then spike up the weekend on Friday with 2 held shipments to help out with that. The good news is, though, if you're looking for a Switch, you can still probably get one if you either get there when they open, or if you have someone on the inside, obviously like a friend that works at Best Buy, maybe they can help you out. Keep in mind, though, they should have them this Friday. That's April the 28th. Call them, stop by, whatever, see if you can get your hands on a Switch that way if you still need one. And a little while ago, we covered the entire idea of GTA 5 housing Red Dead Redemption. Remember there was that mod going around where they were going to completely alter the map of GTA 5 and put assets and set pieces and everything from Red Dead Redemption into GTA 5. Everyone really wants Red Dead Redemption on the PC. I don't think that's a secret at all. And modders are willing to spend the time and essentially redecorate and reform GTA 5 to do this. But sadly, it's been canceled due to a cease and desist that was issued by Rockstar. And this has kind of made a lot of people really disappointed at this point, because I think everyone wanted to see Red Dead Redemption, or at least see what these modders could do with the world that they were given with GTA 5 and kind of mold it into Red Dead Redemption, because that's a project that would probably never end for these guys. They would constantly be working on it, constantly be adding stuff to it. Even when they finish it, more than likely custom pieces were going to come to it, whether it's new quests or new towns or map pieces. There's a lot of stuff that they would add to it. It's a shame that Rockstar decided to do this, to cease and desist something like this. However, it is in their interest when it starts to get to this point, I think, especially if they are still thinking about having Red Dead Redemption come out on Steam at some point, or just the PC in general, where they cut a deal with, who knows, they cut a deal with Origin or who knows at that point. But either way, they would not want this game out there, even if it is kind of something that's modded and thrown together as opposed to built from the ground up for the computer. They don't want this. And I can at least understand this from a company perspective. It's just a shame for fans who are looking forward to this. I would have liked to see it just to see what these guys could do. And if you are a fan of the Splatoon series, you will be very happy to know that, of course, Splatoon 2 is coming out. but the manga series that is over in Japan is being localized and translated to English and brought over to the West. And this was announced by Viz Media over on Twitter. You'll see their tweet here. It's pretty cool because, of course, it's one of the covers, and it says, announcement, Splatoon, the manga series inspired by the hit Nintendo game, makes its debut late 2017, join the turf war. So we're waiting for it, late 2017. At some point, I mean, at that point, Splatoon 2 will, of course, be in full swing here in America and over in Japan, where it's very popular, which is in Japan. Either way, it'll be really cool to have that brought over just as an extra piece to help grow Splatoon as a large franchise, which is pretty much become at this point. I mean, it's slowly going to become that thing where we go, well, when's the new Splatoon coming out? You know, it'd be almost like that. When's the next Call of Duty or whatever? It'd be Splatoon. Maybe not to the point where Call of Duty is known by all of the typical mainstream consumers, but Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 and 4, of course, will have that large following of people that enjoy esports and stuff like that. Also, they have a really cool idea and a really cool opportunity here to flesh out the story even more with series like these. So anything they can do to make backstories and really just overall universe of a game like this kind of fleshed out and larger, by all means, do it. And in what was very surprising, I think, to a lot of people, especially who shop at Target, they may have noticed that almost overnight, all of the carts had been transformed into carts. Let me rephrase that. All of the carts, the shopping carts, have been turned into Mario Karts from the new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that is launching this Friday. And it's really funny the way they're doing this. I mean, really, they're turning the carts into something that most people, all they're going to do is sit in and hold up items as if they are in like an actual Mario Kart at that point. And really, I mean, the pictures are already flying all over the internet of people sitting in them throwing bananas or throwing toy shells or amiibos or whatever, people pushing them around with video. So of course that was going to happen, but the big thing here is Target's winning because people are coming in to check out the shopping carts, which is an odd thing to have people come in and look at, but they're pushing them around, they're going around the store, and they're picking up product like bananas and amiibo. So there you go. It's working on Target's behalf, and I'm sure it's just one more thing that Nintendo doesn't usually do, so they are pulling out all the stops for promotional material, and I think it's working. I think Friday will be a large day, at least the weekend will be, a large time for Mario Kart to sell. It will do well. I don't think that's a shock to anyone. It could potentially have a very close to 80 to 90% attach rate with the Switch, mostly because, one, we don't have games, like big games coming out every week. We kind of like see our releases coming and we get ready for them, you know, like I'm sure a lot of us have been saving up for Mario Kart if you don't go out and buy games every week. This would be something, obviously, you buy Zelda and then you buy Mario Kart, right? I mean, that's the next big one. So that would have a high attach rate. I understand the marketing ploy here with the shopping carts. So good on Nintendo, good on Target to come together and do this. And this is interesting. We talked about the Chinese version of Steam called Tencent, right? Talked about that the other day on Newswave. Well, now they have come to an agreement with Psyonix to alter Rocket League so that it works with what they call their market. So how are they altering Rocket League to make sense in that marketplace? Well, for one, they're making it free. It's going to be like a free-to-play game that I assume have in-game transactions like you buy stuff for your car, for example, whether it's skins or items that you purchase to then put on your car. Like there's a lot of stuff you unlock in the paid Rocket League right now and that could easily be charged for because most of them are decoration items. They don't actually affect what's happening in the game. But of course, people like to have that stuff on their cars. Regardless, they would spend money. Put it in their hands for free, they'll spend the rest of the money that they have, probably more than the 15 to 20 that it goes for usually on Steam. They did say that if you have a copy of it already on Steam in that area, you can still play it and use it and play against people, no problem. You don't have to like give it back and then get it for free and then do this whole free-to-play thing. You just don't have to. But it's interesting to note that Tencent has the ability here with their marketplace, as I already talked about. They have a larger market than Steam at this point in terms of players and user base. They have the ability to have a company like Psyonix, who, while isn't a big company, they haven't altered their play style for Steam, but they're offering their whole pay style and everything for 10 cents. So it's interesting. I think I think they definitely have their eye on Tencent trying to enter the marketplace over here. It's going to be very interesting to see when these two juggernauts go up against each other in the coming months. And we talked about this big update that Konami put out for Varmint R that I personally think saved the game, essentially. Like, it really helped it along with the big patch for what looks to be 60 frames most times, not always. Big frame boost, though, of course. Fix a lot of things with lag online and just issues people are having with the game. And they go out of the way to fix all this, which is great, because a lot of times we see companies kind of leave these games for dead if they don't work out and move on. Here's Konami, though, not only fixing it up, they're now releasing DLC for it. And what else is really surprising, I think, to a lot of people, is that the update I'm about to tell you about is going to be free. It's rolling out soon, but it's going to be free. They're not going to charge anything for it. And this is going to add 3 new characters. They're going to add Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, Simon Belmont from Castlevania, and Vix Viper from Gradius, which is... what? Like, that's just odd to hear that out loud. But yes, this is happening. It's going to be free. All they are telling us right now, it's coming out soon. So I think most of us who have Bomberman are going to take a look at this after seeing this massive update to 60 frames, or at least a frame boost. We're going to now take a look at this. Maybe that was the original plan, was to get people more interested in a game that, while fun for Bomberman enthusiasts, maybe not for the rest of us. Now they're adding extra stuff. They're fixing it so that we don't have to really make excuses for why this game is running like that. And there's adding more content, so why not? Good on Konami. Honestly, Konami, you're surprising me at this point, since I kind of wrote you off after the entire Kojima debacle, but good on you. I'll be sure to check out these characters when they come out. And Call of Duty, which is supposed to be guarded, right? You're supposed to guard these things leading up to your stream. More leaks, of course, for Call of Duty. They can't seem to keep these things from coming out, probably because they sent these promotional materials out so early. But here's the interesting thing. Screenshots are leaking now. Like screenshots of the game. So here's a couple here, and it looks interesting. It definitely looks like a very gritty game compared to the more shiny and, I guess, futuristic look that we're used to with the current Call of Duties. This is a more like there's mud on the camera, the people are super obviously messed up and dirty and everything, and they're shooting what look to be, obviously, World War II era guns and everything, but overall, it looks very gritty, so I'm more interested as we go along for this Call of Duty. We also see box art that appears to at least allude to exclusivity like we've seen before for the PS4, where they'll get maps like 30 days in advance, which is something that really Microsoft should have never given up, but Microsoft is doing some weird things. It started a couple years ago. I have no idea what they're doing at this point, but that's besides the point. PS4 should keep their exclusivity going forward with their 30-day DLC, something that used to belong to Microsoft, like I was saying. Interesting. The 26th, though, we should have some kind of live stream on Wednesday. Come here and watch it with me. I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see what this new Call of Duty is all about. And the last bit of news is kind of interesting. It's for retro fans, I will say that. It's a little bit of retro news for you guys today. So this is for the Game Boy Advance, which most of us know we love the Game Boy Advance. It had some great games on it, obviously. I think most of us probably played Pokemon to death on those things, with Fire Red, Leaf Green, or Ruby, or Sapphire Emerald. And then several other games we played on there, including the Mario series, Zelda, Metroid. I mean, the list goes on. I don't have to tell you guys. But at this point, we've always, I think, wanted that true-to-life experience on the TV. Now, we did have the GameCube Game Boy player. If you can find it now, good. Most times you can find the bottom part without the disc, or you find the disc and then you just need like a $10 part for the bottom. But what if we could take that Game Boy Advance and plug it into your TV straight up? Well, this is the idea and the thought that a modder by the name of Ben Venn had, and what he has done is developed a board that lets you go from the ribbon cable part for the display on the motherboard of, say, a Game Boy Advance or a Game Boy Advance SP, run it to a board that then converts it to VGA, which, of course, lets you plug it into your TV. Now, he has a video up on Facebook right now showing like just a prototype. That's all it's in right now, is prototype stage. He still needs to do some more work to it to get it out on the market as something you can just buy and install yourself. The big thing here, though, is what you need to take away from this is now that they have converted this signal to a VGA, people who usually take them and do things like hook up bigger screens, like, for example, a 7-inch screen, and make another Game Boy Advance out of it, like a Game Boy Advance handheld. You know how people make like N64 handhelds all the time, for example? They can take this Game Boy Advance and enlarge it to something different. They can customize it, because that signal has always been something that's kind of bothered modders for a while. It's something that we haven't been able to get around, and this person has now given us a solution to do that. So you'll see all kinds of cool stuff showing up in the modding world for these things, and of course, you will probably see people building their own little console versions of the Game Boy Advance. I can honestly believe that happening sooner than you'd think. Maybe eventually get to a point where you buy a box that really plays your Game Boy Advance games and you pop them in, and all it is a Game Boy Advance that's been deshelled and taken apart and hooked up through VGA for your TV. Either way, I like when people do this kind of stuff. It's very cool to see, and I'll keep an eye on this VGA converter, and maybe I can get a hold of one. I'm gonna kind of play around with the Game Boy Advance with that later on in the future. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think about anything we talked about today, whether you actually went out to Target and you saw the Mario Kart shopping carts. I'm very curious. If you got a picture of them, let me know. That'd be really funny. I saw some popping up on Reddit. It's a neat idea on Nintendo and Target's part. So I'm glad that they are doing this to try to bring light to things like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Switch users. Very cool idea. Maybe you're excited for Call of Duty. Let me know about that down in the comments as well. Although I think a lot of people on the internet are starting to become less and less fans of Call of Duty at this point after last year with their entire Infinite Warfare debacle. Also, let me know what you think of Best Buy and their Switches. Maybe you'll be getting one. Or let me know what you think about GTA 5 and the Red Dead Redemption project being canceled. I think a lot of people are very sad about that. I'm curious on your thoughts though. Thanks guys for watching. I will see you next time.